Hello and welcome to the latest update. Managed to make some progress and return this car back to a shell. Not that it was kind of already in a rolling shell state, but as I said, the plan is to take absolutely everything off. More importantly, I'm going to discuss the engine, which you can just see very nicely kind of floating in the background. Yeah, look at that, eh? Special effects. Anyway, this engine is a 4AG engine. Toyota have been making this engine since like 1980, and I think they stopped in 2002s. They only ever made it in a 1.6, but it varied in power, being an 8 valve or 16 valve. This one is obviously, as I say, 1.6. It's 20 valves though, so it's designed by Yamaha, and it was put in the Corolla, which came from, I think it was 96 to 98, which was known as the AE111. So this engine I managed to source off a chap on eBay who breaks those particular cars, and so he managed to send me like a compression test and a license plate and everything. So this is a 70,000 kilometre engine, so it was all working beautifully when it was taken out of the car, with compression across all 4 cylinders, looking good with not much variation. So I think I've got a good engine. Since I've had it, I've stripped it down, so I've cleaned up the valve cover and painted that, changed the cam belt for an OEM belt, changed the fuel pump while I was at it as well. But I've also had to make some other modifications. Because this engine comes out of a different Corolla, after this model of Corolla that I've got, the AE86, all the other chassis are all front wheel drive. So the way the distributor and where the water is positioned on the car, you have to move or do something to do with the distributor cap, because it sits at the back of the engine, and when you put it into one of the cars that I've got, it will hit the firewall. So you can either cut a 30 great big hole in the firewall, or you can buy a product that moves the distributor to the front of the engine. And likewise with the water, the coolant's around the back as well. But anyway, so I bought some parts from an Australian company called SQ Engineering. So SQ Engineering machine these beautiful solutions which you can literally just bolt on, which gets around the problem for me for the coolant, and also gets around the problem for the distributor. As you can see, I've had to cut up the plastics on the front to get it to fit neatly, but it wasn't a big problem. 4 individual throttle bodies as per design by Yamaha. While I had the engine split, I took the sump off and I've drilled and tapped and welded in a pickup point for the oil temp. So in addition to the engine, the wheels, I've started cleaning those up, looking to whether I could actually split them, but strangely enough they don't look like split rims. But I'm just cleaning those up anyway. I'm not sure if I'll keep them long term. They are really rare, but I quite fancy going up to 15-inch wheels just so I've got more brake options, because I know the front brakes on this look slightly seized. You can fit RX-7 calipers to these quite easily, amongst other options as well, so we'll see how that goes. But I've got a lot of cleaning up to do. Although the car, to be honest, I've managed to strip most of the front and the rear, and she's been giving up quite easily, to be honest. I think whenever it's been stored, I think it's been stored in the dry, otherwise I'm pretty sure these bolts will be well and truly seized in there, which is good. So it's all looking up. Found this little fellow inside. It looks like he died. He had a good life. I think he might have died going sideways as well. So if you've got any comments, leave them, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.